Hi everybody, it's Mary Kay, and I'm here to teach you how to do cross-stitch. This cross-stitch program was funded by the Pennsylvania Rural Arts Alliance, Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, in partnership with the Hollidaysburg Area Public Library. In order to do this project, you need a kit. You may get a kit on your own or come to the library or to the farmer's market and pick up a kit where you see the library reading being done. So, our kits over here show a variety of projects, and the projects range from pendants to keychains and little necklaces. You may decide which you'd like to do, and when you open it up, these are the things you'll find inside. You'll find a needle. It will have an elongated eye and a pretty blunt point because it doesn't have to pierce fabric. And you will find some directions. The directions have words. It has a color chart and a stitching chart. And you'll find the cover, which shows the kind of project that you can make from the materials that they give you. They will give you these colors of embroidery floss. We use the floss to make the stitches, and these are the two projects that these materials will cover. Either one of these are old-fashioned keys, and you put the stitches on the key fob. So this is the key fob right here, and you're going to learn how to make the stitches to cover this. Now, if you would find that you'd rather put your initials on this or you don't like these colors, just stop by the library and we have lots of extra embroidery floss, and you can go through and choose your own colors if these don't suit you. Speaking of embroidery floss, the length of the floss is important. So, the first thing you do is you find the end of your floss, and after the end is found, you're going to unwind your floss, and you're going to cut it to a length that extends from the center of you to the end of your outstretched fingertips. Now this one I already cut. It was about double this length. And that's because when you're stitching, your arm can only go out this far anyways. So that's why we want to have the floss length something manageable for you. The next thing, and this tells you this on the directions also, is to separate your floss. The floss comes in 6 strands. Some people refer to this as thread. But it comes in 6 strands, but they tell you in these directions that you only use 3 strands through the needle at a time. Most of the time it's 2 strands. These directions say 3. So you're taking your 6, you're dividing it. And this is the simplest way to divide it. Use your index finger, slide down between, and allow the thread to untangle as you go. And then you set one piece of your floss aside, and now you need to get 3 pieces of floss through the eye of the needle. That can be tricky. So what I do to make it easier, if you don't have a needle threader, is I use a slip of paper. Now to make my slip of paper, all I do is cut a small piece of paper that will fit through the eye of the needle. So we can see that fits, goes right through. Then you fold this in half and you crease it. Now you take the ends, and remember there's 3 ends because there's 3 pieces of floss that are going to be used to make each stitch on this project, and you put the 3 pieces on the paper and you close this down on top to make a sandwich, and you poke this through the eye of the needle. And all you do is pull it till the cut end is about halfway between the needle and the free end. So about halfway down is what you need. Once you have this done, you are ready to start. Now, the question comes, what stitch am I going to make, and where do I start with which color? So, we'll direct your attention to this. And what I've done, I've taken a little sample of each of my colors, put my red here, my gold here, and my charcoal gray here. Then I look, and beside there is a symbol. Anytime I see a square with little dots, I'll be making a red cross stitch. Anytime I see an open circle, I'll be making a gold cross stitch. Anytime I see a diamond, I'll be making the charcoal cross stitch. So I just took the edges, little ends, we won't need those, and taped them on here just as a reference. In this project, it's not that important, but in other projects where you're doing a flower, you might have light pink, light rose, dark pink, maroon, red, various shades that come close in color. So that helps you know which color is which. Now, to make your stitches, you're not going to make a full stitch of a cross or an X. You're only going to make a half. And you have to know where to begin and for which color. So, right here it says red. Right here shows the box with the little dots, which means red. According to our directions, we're supposed to start in the left-hand corner, which is right here, and we're going to make our stitches across the row and back. We only make half of a cross at a time. They use the AB, and that shows how we start to go across and how we finish to go back. So that's what I'm going to do. That's our finished project. That's our floss. Really, the kit comes with everything. All you need is a pair of scissors. Now this is the material we're going to do this on, and since this is rigid, we don't need an embroidery hoop. These X's are going to stay perfect just the way you make them. So we come up, and on your diagram, this is letter A. I don't pull the whole way through, and I don't make a knot. I make a tail that extends out to the other side. We're going to work our stitches over the tail, and then we're going to cut that later. So you make half of the stitch. You came up at A, down at B. So B is just a diagonal. There we go. And up at the same place, it's just one stitch over. We haven't skipped any holes. And we slant up the exact same amount. And we work across our row. On the directions, it tells us all the stitches on this row are the same color. So we don't need to skip anything for other colors because all the stitches on this row are the same. So I'm just going to work across, and I'm going to keep my little key fob holder out of the way because the ring seems to want to get in the way for this first row. As soon as I get to the end, I'm going to check to be sure all my stitches have the same tension and that all my stitches are slanted the same direction and that I didn't miss anything because I don't want to miss any holes. It tells us in the directions we have this color for all the stitches the whole way across. Then I want to check my back and make sure that I caught the thread under my stitches. And I did. So I can cut this off now because that's very well anchored. Okay, so that's all cut out of our way. That's called the half cross. This kit features all cross stitches, so we need to go back and finish our crosses. So these will all be slanting the same direction back across the row, and we just pull our thread till we get it taut, and we keep going. We don't skip anything. So for this, we do not skip any holes because we want these stitches to be done the whole way across the row. Now when I would get finished with this row, I would check it like I checked the last one, And then I would see if there was any more red stitches that were close by. If there would be, on the next row, I would just go right on and I would not end. If the next row asked me to put a different color in, then I would have to change what I was doing. So right here, I'm tangled around the key ring. So I'm just going to untangle myself so I can pull this tight. Let's see. I'm going to turn it upside down here for a second so I can get my bearings. And if you come into this problem, what you can do is you can unthread the needle, which I will do now, and just untangle by hand. So I'm going to unthread my needle. And this one has a little knot, so I'm going to cut. And then I'm just going to untangle this by hand. Then I'll show you where we'll start up again. Okay. So we'll just untwist this. There. Go. So all you would do if you were starting up again is come up from underneath and finish crossing those stitches till you got to the end. We would consult our chart and we would see that in the next row we do have one stitch of red, so we don't need to end. We just go ahead and make our stitch, half of it. We would skip 2, make half of another red, skip 2, make half of another red. Work back across the row, only crossing the ones where you have the half stitch. When you're all finished, you take your needle that's still threaded, you go underneath the stitches that you just recently did, and you pull that through, and then you cut off the thread. And that will anchor your stitches for the end. Okay. If you have any questions, there's going to be a helpline that you'll be able to see at the end of this video. It's going to be posted, and there will be other YouTube videos that I think are helpful when you're doing counted cross stitch. Have fun. Bye-bye.